I just wanted to make a video about a thought that entered my mind. When I make these videos, sometimes I don't often play them back, but sometimes I do, or I see the stills and I'm a bit shocked by my neck here. Like, it's not exactly a double chin, but it's like my neck muscles are very tense. And my mother, who I have a look similar to, doesn't have that, and she does, for years, she does the cat-cow position every morning. And she's been telling me to do it, and I don't like doing what she tells me to do, but she's right on that. So I tried it the other day, and then when I was walking, and I could see that when you do the cat-cow, it kind of like it gives flexibility to the entire spine. And by the way, this does have a relation to fertility treatments. It gives flexibility to the entire spine. Okay, Bobby, we're gonna go. I'll give you your dummy. Here, try this. Well done. And I could feel like I'm not aware of my posture, but when I'm walking and I'm wearing him as well, when I kind of imagine doing the cat-cow, I self-correct. And then I was thinking today about the process of infertility and what it's like, and all of the burdens associated with it physically, emotionally, spiritually as well, because there is like a spiritual burden, because you're in a way that maybe I'll explain in another video, but it's like on all levels very challenging, very volatile and hard, and it's a question of how you bear it and the best way to bear it, because you can't prevent it being hard. Maybe it'll be easy for you, but it might be hard, and it's sort of, you can't prevent it. It's like a few things. One is, I was listening to another lecture, who I love, by Michael A. Singer, and he was talking about discipline, and that the idea of discipline is not to use the mind to overcome the mind, but to dig into the deeper part of your being, to set an intention and apply your will towards the intention, and then no matter what the mind throws up, to carry out the intention. And I've been saying to myself, okay, so I'll cut out sugar, and then I find myself like, actually, because I told myself I'm going to cut out sugar, I've had a pastry yesterday afternoon. You know, I've been having more sugar since I told myself I've really got to cut out sugar again. So I haven't, it means that either I'm not applying my will, or I didn't really set the intention from the deeper part of my being. And a few years ago, and I've been saying I do yoga every morning, and then it's like it's too late, and then I woke up early and I was too tired. So again, I'm not there yet. It seems like I haven't set it enough from a deeper part of my being, or haven't applied enough will directed from that deeper part, not from my mind. But years ago, I remember that I did get into the habit of doing yoga every day, and then I found that I was doing it despite not wanting to do it. And then at some point I got this kind of meta-awareness that by doing the yoga, even when every part of me was saying I don't want to do the yoga in the morning, I was kind of getting a meta-insight into a part of me that I normally don't, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to join up all of the points here. When I went into this, the fertility treatment that couldn't always fall asleep, that conceived my son, I was in the same area I am now, and I decided I was going to have a very uneventful pregnancy. There was going to be no stress, my whole thing, because I get so anxious and so stressed, throughout the entire fertility trying period, which was a pity really, because in many ways my life went on hold. I don't know how necessary it was. I said I'm just going to put my head down, stay away from any stress, And the most stressful little things happen from day to day. Like there was a rat that got into my house that I had to deal with, and there was a live rat in a cage got into my house that I had to get rid of whilst I was pregnant. And I went to a cafe, and they very kindly let in my dog. And then another woman, and I was working on my computer, and then another woman came in, and she had a little, tiny little dog that she didn't put on the lead, and basically there's a dog fight in the cafe. I don't think my dog did anything. I think she swiped the dog because the dog was aggressively barking at her. So maybe she did do something, I don't know, but the other dog wasn't on a lead. And there was blood everywhere. It was just awful. And I was 5 weeks pregnant then, and or 9 weeks pregnant. I think 5 weeks pregnant, right at the beginning. And I sat in the cafe afterwards after she'd rushed her dog off to the hospital. Poor dog, poor me too, poor dog really, but I was so afraid I was going to lose the pregnancy. I was like, for 3 hours I was sitting there with like, I didn't want to move, and the blood was drained to my face, and I was sheet white, which is scary because you know you've got this fetus inside you. You want the blood supply and the oxygen to get to it. You want it to survive. You don't want stress like that. So all of these things outside happened. And I was kind of remembering all that, and then just now I was walking with my baby, who must be 11 kilos now. I don't quite know, I haven't weighed him for a while, but he's quite gorgeous. And he's a hefty little fella. And I'm surprised that I can carry him on the baby carrier so easily, although he's the same weight as I was carrying extra by the end of my pregnancy, but I've got stronger. But then I was walking along, and I was thinking, well, when I have my posture like with a cat-cow, where my stomach is held in and my head is up and everything's aligned, it's a lot easier to carry the burden. And I have lots of challenges ahead of me now, and actually the inner posture that we have when we face these challenges, and this is a generality, but it's definitely the case during the fertility treatments, it doesn't lessen the burden of the thing we've got to carry, but it does give us more strength and ability to carry the burden. Like that's where we do have a choice. I think I was in some kind of inner collapse for a lot of the years. I was really in a state of inner collapse for many years. I was doing the fertility treatments. I didn't have confidence in myself and in my decision, and that was because I was, shall we say, attached to the opinions, assumed opinions of people that don't matter. That's the truth. Because it was too painful to make those people not matter in my life, because then I would have to face feelings of being alone. But the thing is that when I got pregnant, then it helped me realize that I'm not alone. I have friends and I have support and I have connections that came out of nowhere, and life is dynamic and keeps on growing, but that those days are over and I can release myself from that. And in fact I want to release myself because I got an insight as to how much it wasn't helping me hold that strong inner posture. And therefore it has to go, because I need to show up for my son in the best possible way. So the whole point of this post is to kind of connect those dots. Maybe it will help you. Maybe you're going through fertility treatment now, or maybe you're about to go into it, and it's just a reminder that we can't choose the outside circumstances, but we can before we respond, like they say, you can't control situations outside of you, but you can choose your response. But before anything happens, because a fertility treatment is a long period of waiting, and then what might seem like success but may or may not hold out to be the ultimate success. And if you have a baby, you want them to be healthy. I mean, that's the whole journey of parenthood, of uncertainty, like the rest of life is. Actually, it's an illusion that's just parenthood, but because it matters so much to us, it just becomes so apparent that how things, the extent to which things are not in our control. But before something happens, at which point you have the decision to choose your response, you've got the whole rest of the time, which is 99% of the rest of the time, to kind of be aware of your inner posture of how you're looking at life. And it does help your stamina and strength in carrying the burden or making the effort, whatever you've got to tackle. And that's all I wanted to say. That posture. I mean, if you listen to success motivation videos, they'll say something like, you've got to decide I'm a success. I can do this, but I don't think that's always the right attitude. That lack of humility can be a block to learning. I know that I felt that when I took up a study period later in life with a lot of younger people. I was at a disadvantage because my ego was all drawn up to being I'm a successful person, and then it was hard to find something hard. And it doesn't really help to say I'm successful, because clearly I wasn't. Like, in order to get more successful, I had to understand why I wasn't being successful. So it was an impediment to learning. But the thing of choosing the right posture does make a difference. A funny thing happened to me this week, which was that I saw a position that I thought might be a good idea for me to take as a job, because it's decently enough paid, good enough, temporary, but I would learn something at it. And as far as I know, it's immediately available, and it's in corporate, which I'm missing from the last few years on my CV. And I think a corporate job would be good for me now. And anyway, I reached out to the VP on LinkedIn, and she asked for my CV in response to what I wrote her. I didn't hear from her. And then I hadn't checked my email, but I sent her another CV having sent her my CV on the Thursday or the Wednesday, on the I don't know, the Monday morning, I sent her a message on LinkedIn, and I just said, and then normally I get very panicked and het up, but I just said, if you haven't filled the spot, I just want to reiterate how interested I am in this position. And the next day I got a call from HR, and I had an interview yesterday, so we'll see where that goes. But the funny thing is that yesterday, on the way back from the interview, I went through my emails, and they answer on HR from a system, and so I didn't see the message, but I'd actually got rejected. Like the day before, I'd sent the VP the email which said, if you haven't filled this spot, I just want to reiterate how interested I am in the position. They'd collected all the CVs and rejected mine. Now, if I had seen that email, even if I had sent the email to the VP the next day, it would have been so heavy to write that, even if I'd come up with exactly the same wording. And because I sent it, because I haven't got it, I would like this, so I just want to state that I'm interested. Even if I'd chosen exactly the same wording, I would have, it would have been so heavy writing that letter, and it would have been very hard to write a light-hearted letter, because I would have been in this space of, but they don't want me, and what's the point, and I'm humiliating myself by writing it, and do I really want it? And it would have been a lot, and that's kind of the inner collapse I'm talking about. Whereas, because I was blissfully ignorant of the rejection email, my inner posture was like, well, I'm open to all possibilities, and I'm just gonna send this, and fuck it, I'll just send it, and maybe it'll help, maybe it won't, whatever. But the moment I'd been rejected, it became about my self-esteem, my value, being accepted, being rejected, looking desperate, my status, my ego, all of that stuff. And it would have taken up my whole day as well. And the actuality of the situation is that it's a massive corporate. There's like some person who's a VP who's got a million things on her mind. There's a position, needs to be filled. She gets something in her inbox, seems reasonable, says, well, why not? Okay, let's give it a try. And for whatever reason, I got sent off and I was offered an interview. It's got nothing to do with the inner dialogue in my head that would have agonized over it. Now, I think my lesson for the rest of the week is to think about all the other things that I want to do and to depersonalize in the same way. But all of that agonizing is a collapse. It's a collapse. It's an inner collapse. That's the inner collapse I'm in, that I went through during the fertility treatments. Very hard to let go. Very hard to let go. And just throw your bread on the water and see what comes back when it's something that you want so much. And by the way, this job, I kind of want it and don't want it, which is very typical of me. Like I'm not that conflicted about it. Like if it's an immediate start, it's enough money and it's temporary and I'll learn something and it's a corporate, why not? But then I see what peers are doing and I'm like, why aren't I there yet? And it's stuff that I'm not sure that I even want to do, but because I can see someone else, I don't consider them lesser than me and they're succeeding at that level, then it irritates me that I'm not there, which is not an attitude towards life which brings contentment, happiness or generosity, but I'm just being honest. It's a very weird thing. So what's the inner posture and what's the collapse? I think the collapse is when it's just hard to let go of negative results. Or it's hard to say, okay, there's a negative result and I'm going to try again. I mean, obviously I did get negative results and lots and lots and lots of them, and I did try again and again and again. But it wasn't with any lightness, if you see what I mean. So the analogy to that would be like writing the same email to the VP, having got a rejection, but agonizing over it and feeling terrible and waiting on tenterhooks for a reply. Whereas because I just like wrote it and I was like, oh, I got this phone call from HR and I was very relaxed when I got it. So that's what I mean. So somehow being light about the whole thing. I wish I knew exactly how to do it. I don't know if it's even possible. Like it might be just built in, unable to do it. But I do know that the suffering from infertility is on many. It really is on many levels. And I kind of realized it more once I actually got pregnant, because the pregnancy sort of takes over your body and your mind and your soul and everything. And I was like, wow, I've been like duping my body into thinking I'm pregnant again and again and again and not actually having a baby multiple times over a period of years. Like no wonder it's destabilizing the system, because that's what it is. Like on my route with IVF, when you're pumping yourself with, you take pills in order to prepare the wombs, the body thinks that a baby is going to... It's an invasive hormonal treatment, and hormones are very strong things, which is why I'm making these videos to remind women who are younger, who are relatively more fertile than they're going to be compared to a few years' time, get stuff done now, whether it's actually trying for a baby or preserving your fertility, to avoid this as much as you can. I only had 4 egg extractions in my life. The rest were implanting embryos. Other women, I'm the lucky one. Other women have, God forbid, stillbirths, multiple miscarriages. I had 1 miscarriage, multiple egg extractions. That's much harder. So I so-called got it light compared to what it could be. But I think just coming back to the central theme of like this inner posture, like if for my, I'm correcting myself now, if for my physical well-being, like the cat-cow pose and reminding myself of that movement when I'm carrying a burden is the optimal thing for me to do in order to have good posture, and whatever burdens, although it's not a burden at all, but whatever burdens I have to carry, I carry it well. In other areas of your life, or in the realm of going through an infertility procedure treatment, what is the healthiest inner posture you can take? And I think I'll leave it there, because it's not like I have the answer, but I think there might be a clue in the story that I gave about the job rejection, which is taking things lightly in a way and having, this is a hard thing, having some kind of optimism which isn't based in fact. Like something will work out, something will work out somehow. Whatever's meant to be will be, and something will work out. The difficulty that I got stuck with there is that like my something will work out was very much glued to I will have a baby by hook or by crook. But I don't think that's what brought me the baby. What brought me the baby was doing what I had to do with resilience over and over again until the baby came. So at the beginning, I was like, I have to have a baby. By the end, I'd made the inner decision that like whether this works or not, I refused to let this define my whole life. And here I am making YouTube videos over it after the baby's born. But I'm also trying to learn from my mistakes, because, and I'm also trying to help other people, women. So, I think I do have a higher reason for this. It's not in order to ruminate. And I'm sure there are lessons in this for life which are wider. Anyhow, I hope that's joined all of the dots in all of the weirdly diverse points that I brought up, and wish you good luck. Bye for now.